I
It
want
is
to meet Chad,
Friday,
so let's
and
go.
we are so lucky, as we are every Friday, to have an amazing guest. But I'm going to tee up Jeremy Pratt. Jeremy's going to make an introduction for us to our very special guest today. Take it away, Jeremy.
Good morning, everybody. What's up, Chad? How are you, buddy?
Hey, Jeremy, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, 2017, 2018, my friend Rob Anderson invited me to this Facebook group. It's called BYLR. He's like, "You like doing push-ups and running and all this kind of stuff. You would love this." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "We do it for charity. I know you like doing charity stuff." I said, "I do." And then I thought, "Oh man, everybody in there's going to be faster, smarter, richer, better looking. I might have got myself into a bad web." I was like, "Well, this is probably a room that I need to get into." So I did. We had a lot of fun. We did a lot of crazy stuff, and this group kept on growing and growing and growing. And then, as part of this group, you saw these different leaders, emerging. And one of the cool things was you got to meet a lot of really interesting people, and Chad was one of them. And I think my friend summed it up best because he's such a positive light out there for guys. We finished up some meeting. Chad had spoken, and he goes, he was from the South. He goes, man, that guy Chad is like the light you need when you're in a dark sea. And I said, yeah, he's like a lighthouse. And it's not just because he's 6'9". Like he's light. So you're all gonna enjoy today. Great dude, great husband, great father of twins, and just he's the most authentic human you're gonna meet.
I am. Thank you for that, Jeremy. Chad, make sure I'm pronouncing your last. It's Sanschagrin.
Yep, perfect. Yeah,
Awesome. Okay.
Great. Yep.
I
Yeah,
practiced,
perfect.
and not only did I practice, I have to. I want to share with you guys. I've been kind of mainlining your content, Chad. Like there's a lot. You have some phenomenal. Your content is phenomenal. Obviously, we're going to get into some of your background and some of what you've done, which
Yeah.
is so related to who we are. But first,
Yeah.
we this is the Miale team. We are real estate agents, traditional residential real estate agents in Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, and Rhode Island. We are very high productivity team. So our typical agent on our team is selling 6 times the national average for your typical real estate agent. So a lot of what you teach and talk about really resonates with us. Um, but I am personally obsessed with the leadership journey of high productivity people, the personal development journey. I'm obsessed with it. And about, I don't know, 10 years ago in my personal travels, you get into a lot of rooms, you meet really successful people, and you just start seeing themes. And
Yeah.
I would always make the effort to come back to the team and sort of distill down these magic lessons that I learned, right? So like maybe it was a build your life resume group or something like that, or a mastermind group where I'd get and I'd hear some stuff and I'd come back to the team and I'd sort of word vomit all over everybody and think that they were going to get the same experience that I did, and realize very quickly that I was way out over my skis and needed to just get out of the way and let the leaders come to the team. So we do this call every Friday. We have some special guests come on and share their journey. So I want to sort of start, first of all, obviously, who are you and how did we get so lucky to get you here today? And then we're going to talk a little bit about your journey and process. So thank you,
Yeah.
Chad. Thank you for
Right.
joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, it's interesting. You said that you started by saying, "How did we get so lucky to have you?" When I'm sitting here going, "How the hell did I get here to talk to all these great leaders?" Like I take this as like if somebody asked me to speak or somebody asked me to come in, the greatest ask anybody can ask you is to have influence over people that they love and care about. And
Mm.
so like that, you got to have, for me, this is sacred ground right here. This is I have a lot of reverence for this. So I appreciate you saying you're lucky, but by the grace of God, I'm able to be here today and given the opportunity to speak to you guys. So the pleasure and the appreciation is all from this end. Um, I am I am I am a broken, put back together, 52-year-old man that's now feeling for the first time in my life that I actually love what I see when I look in the mirror. And I don't mean that as a like as a physical feature, as like, oh, I feel like I'm an attractive guy now. It's I'm proud of the person I'm becoming. And there was for me, that's been a really long journey. I, grew up with a single mother. That really had no relationship with my father after 5 years old, and pretty broken mindset. Um, and so I barely graduated high school. I graduated with a 1.6 grade point average, and that, I'm telling you, was a blessing just to get me. They just wanted to get me out of the school. Um, and no real direction. Was started as a dishwasher in a hotel in downtown Baltimore. Um, just broken, just a broken mindset. Then I had this shift moment, shift standing for see how I find truth. I had a see how I find truth moment. I had them all along. I just never seen them, um, and kind of changed my life around with the help of amazing people around me. I got my story right. I got my narrative right, and for the last 20 years, I've been trying to figure this out. I'm the father of twin 21-year-old daughters. That really reshaped my life. Not having a father. The one thing I always knew I wanted to be. I'm saying, I didn't know if I was going to be alive or dead. I didn't know if I was going to have money or not. I didn't know where my next, meal was going to come from. But the one thing I always had certainty in is I was going to be a father. That was it. I didn't even have a girlfriend. I knew I was going to be a father, and I knew I was going to dedicate my life to being the father that I didn't have when I grew up. Um, and so I took that role really seriously, and that shaped a lot of who I was. I see parents all the time, and they say, I would die for my kids. I would die for my children. And I think most parents, if you're a parent, I think they actually believe that if somebody was to come and try to harm your kids, you would put down your life for your kids. Um, and I think I would too. But when they were born, I decided I wasn't going to die for my kids. I was going to live for my kids. And what I meant by that, I was going to take care of myself, and I was going to be a role model. And I was going to, I smoked 2 packs. I remember um, I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day from the time I was 17 until the time I was 25. I worked at a hotel. I drank a lot. I drank probably 5 or 6 Cokes a day. I was smoking, drinking alcohol, drinking this. And the day my wife found out she was pregnant, I had almost an entire full pack of cigarettes, and I threw them in the trash, and I never touched another cigarette again. Here, 25 years later, 23 years later, whatever it is, and that was the start. Seems like such a small moment, but that was the start of the shift of becoming the next version of myself. And what I've realized is people spend more time trying to upgrade their electronics than they do upgrade themselves.
That's a good one.
I'm on version 5.0, 6.0, 7.0 because I can't be the same father I was when they were born that they am when I'm 21. And none of you on this phone, I'm assuming, are logging in from your BlackBerry. Your BlackBerry, you don't have the BlackBerry anymore. Why? Because it's obsolete. Well, my biggest fear in life is becoming obsolete in the life of the people who matter most to me. And so I'm a constant a work in progress, trying to figure out what that next version is going to look like.
How did you, I like you talked about this pinnacle moment. Your wife told you she was pregnant,
Yeah,
and you threw the pack of cigarettes, and we all know like I smoked for years and quit, never stopped quitting. Never stop quitting was my mantra around
yeah,
because like I didn't want to go back, but I did, right?
yeah,
There's something to that moment though that I think is magic, and that's I think the thing that a lot of us, it's been there's a million reasons why real estate's tough right now. There's a
oh,
million reasons, right? But some people are waking up every day and making it happen. And to me, the part of the differentiator between the ones that are doing versus the ones that are trying is that decision. And that's the part that I've always been like kind of obsessed about is like why is it that on some occasions a decision sticks and others don't? And
yeah.
is that kind of what you talk about around your cannonball mindset? Is that sort of what you
It's a premise. I think the first thing is I think people ask themselves the wrong question. I think the quality of your life is predicated on the questions you ask yourself. And if you ask yourself shitty questions, you have a pretty shitty life. And the
Mhm.
challenge is Most people ask themselves why questions. You know, why has this happened to me? Why am I such a screw up? Why can't I get motivated? Why did I give up? Why did my father leave me? Why did like and all those why questions, they just program your brain. I could get into the biology, but they just program your brain to be more of a victim, and like everything is happening against me and I just can't get out of my own way. And when I started asking myself better questions, I started having a better life. And so, you know, I ask myself a ton of questions every day, and that is, what's standing in my way? What can I do today? But the most important question that people get wrong is they start their life, or they start their year, they start their quarter, now the first day of the second quarter, and they say, well, what do I want to achieve today? What do I want to achieve this quarter? And I think that's the wrong question. And I think the question is, who do I want to become? Life is about becoming. It's not about achieving. And I think achievement without betterment is solely for the ego. Achievement without betterment is solely for the ego. And I will tell you, I lived this life. Even after I made this shift moment, I remember I was giving a talk in Portugal, and I gave this talk about, and it was about mindset. There's a couple hundred people there, and in one of the kind of throwaway lines, I was like, if your mind is right, your narrative is right, there's really nothing that you can't do. And I said, and it wasn't even in the rehearsal. Like I hadn't even thought about saying this, and I just said, for example, I'm 6'8", by the way. I'm 6'8", 240 pounds. So I'm a big guy. I'm like a tree. And I said, if I wanted to run a marathon, I could run a marathon today if I had the right narrative. And I just kind of moved past it. I'd never been a runner. I'd never run. I had never worked out. I never lifted. Like there was nothing athletic about me except for I was 6'8" and I could play basketball because I was 6'8". It wasn't because I was athletic. It was just because I was bigger than everybody else. And I got on the plane and I started thinking to myself, could I really do that shit? Could I really run a marathon? And I decided to enter the lottery. I decided at that moment on the plane that I was going to run a marathon. But I only wanted to run a marathon to tell people I ran a marathon. It was solely ego. It was solely the achievement of like, I'm going to set this achievement and I'm going to run a marathon and I'm going to tell people I ran a marathon. So and by the grace of God, I entered the New York City Marathon lottery. I got in, which is almost impossible. I got in on my first try. It's almost impossible. Remember, I've never run any distance at all at this point. And so I was like, okay, I get in, I'm going to run the marathon. I do hardly any training. I don't really prepare for it. I half-assed the whole thing because I'm like, I don't really care. I just want the medal. How hard can it be really to run 26 miles? And so I show up on November 3rd of that year, 2018, I think it was, and I say, okay, I'm gonna run the marathon. I'm at the Verrazano Bridge. I'm from New York. I'm going to run this marathon. It was the most god-awful experience I'd ever had in my life. It took me 6 hours, and I thought I was going to die. I literally, hand to the man, I ran, I walked, I crawled, I cried, I threw up, I ran. This was the worst. It was the worst, most god-awful experience. I'm like, why do people do this? This is the dumbest shit in the world. But I am telling you, I got the medal, and I wore this medal for like the next month, like Flavor Flav. I wore it everywhere, and I thought this thing was like, I walked into church with this medal on. Like it did not matter. I was telling, like, and I thought it gave me like VIP access everywhere. Like I'd walk into a restaurant and I was like, yeah, I'll take your best seat. And I was like pointing to the medal. My wife's like, what is wrong with you? But I only ran the marathon to tell people I ran the marathon. That's it.
Yeah,
For
I
100% for ego purposes. There was nothing.
love this.
I had a medal, but I was the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And then so the next year, a couple months later, my brother and some friends were like, "Oh, we're going to do the marathon this year." And I was like, "Oh shit, I don't want to do this thing again. That was horrible." But if they do it and then I don't do it, then they have the same medals as me, and then I'm not better than them. So I do it again. I do it a second year, but I didn't get in on the lottery. I paid almost $3,000 to charity to run it again, to tell people that I had more medals than them. Now, mind you, this was not when I was like, this was 10 years ago, 9 years ago. I was already on my journey. I had already owned this company. I was already like preaching and spouting off about betterment. I just wasn't living that shit.
Mm.
I was literally a fraud, and I knew it. So the second year, I show up. I do no training again. my brother, my friends, they all train, they all practice, they get coaches. They run it in like 4.5 hours. I run it in 5 hours and 50 minutes. I took 10 minutes off my time. Now I didn't throw up as much, and I didn't walk as much. Well, I did walk a lot, but I didn't throw up as much. I didn't cry as much. But I had 2 medals. And here's the crazy thing: when you finish the New York City Marathon, you finish it, and then you have to walk 1.5 miles to get out of the corrals just to meet your people. It's like Night of the Living Dead there. Like people, like, especially at the time zone I was finishing, because it was all like the 6 hour finishers, right? And so I'm walking this 1.5 miles, and I realized what a fraud I was. See, achievement without betterment is solely for the ego. So when I want to achieve something, but I don't want to become a better person in the process, that's not like, that's not the way you were designed to live. That doesn't give you the fulfillment. So I decided at that point, walking out, it's like, I'm a fraud. I know I'm a fraud. I'm saying this, I'm not doing that. And I was like, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. But this time, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it by becoming a better version. I'm gonna train, I'm gonna change the way I eat, I'm gonna change my discipline, I'm gonna change the questions I ask myself, I'm gonna change everything. And what's crazy was, I decided, I signed up a third time. That year in the training, I ran like 2,000 miles. I changed my diet, I changed my discipline, I changed everything about myself. I was becoming the version of myself that I could fall in love with. I was becoming the version of myself that I always dreamed I could be, but never had the courage to become. And so I run the marathon a third time. This is now 2020. This is 2020. I run the third time. And the other day I gave a talk in, I don't, where was I? I was in Miami. And I was giving a talk about this in Miami. And preparing for the talk, I was like, oh, I'm going to bring the medal. I'm going to bring the medal for that marathon. And I'm going to wear it and show people the 2020 marathon medal. So I go down to my gym, and I'm looking for the medal. I have all my race medals and everything in my gym, and I don't have it. I don't have the medal. And I realized I don't even know if I ever got it, because when I crossed the finish line of that third New York City Marathon, I didn't give a damn about the medal. I didn't care. I didn't care because I was version 2.0. I was actually become a better version. And since then, I've run 54 marathons. I've run Berlin, I've run Japan, I've run London, I've run New York every year, I've run Chicago, I've done a full Ironman, I've done a couple 50-mile runs. And I don't say this to impress you, but to impress upon you. When you literally start looking at your life, at least for me, when the goalpost for me is not ego driven, it's not about achieving, it's about becoming the version of myself that I was born and destined to become, like, everything changes. Everything changes. So like you look around, we are one of the largest sales training companies for all of new home sales, new home construction sales. So people in the model homes, we're the largest in the country. And I can tell you this, that the market and all the things you're dealing with are the same things every home builder in the country is dealing with right now. And we work with thousands of salespeople every week. And I can tell you the people that are winning, they're winning because they're asking themselves the right question. Not what can I achieve, but who can I become? And they get really granular, like, who can I become? Like, if you ask me today, like, who are you going to become in your fatherhood, in the role of as a father? Oh, I can tell you, I'm going to become a more patient, present father. Who are you going to become in your faith? I'm going to become a more disciplined Christian. Who are you going to become in your physical health? I'm going to become a leaner, fitter runner. Who am I going to, like, I know this, I can tell you right now who I'm becoming in every area of my life that matters, and I can tell you what it looks like, and I can tell you how I'm going to become it. And then the decision is already made. The decision's already made. I got up this morning, it wasn't like, should I run, should I work out today? That decision has already been made. The only decision I have is do it or don't. Do it or don't. And so for me, that's like what drives me. What drives me isn't the achievement of more money or success, or it's what drives me is the version of me that's out in front of me that I was created and destined to become.
I'm obsessed with this idea. Well, here's something I want to unpack for a second,
Yeah,
because a lot of people, you will hear a story like the one you just shared, right? That like
yeah,
behind every great achievement is purpose. That
yeah,
there's some purpose that, and that generally speaking, that purpose has to be some internal driver.
yeah,
But there was a moment where you made that first decision, and let's just say it was from ego
yeah,
to run that first marathon, and then even the
yeah,
second one, which
yeah.
came from ego. But
All
through
ego.
that process, that was where the discovery of the version of you had to show up. And so
Yeah,
I hate the cliche. I hate the like fake it till you make it. I hate all that
no,
stuff. I hate
no,
all that. But
yeah,
there
me
is
too.
some element of at some point you have to choose to be a person that you're not yet and
That's
do
right.
the things like so I could stand here today and say that I want to enter a bodybuilding competition. And if you saw the full version of me, you'd be like, okay, Matt, that's going to be a big challenge, right?
Yeah,
And that said, I still have to start behaving like a bodybuilder.
that's
Like
right.
I have to show up with, 6 containers prepped of boiled chicken, rice, and
Yeah,
broccoli. And everywhere I go, I have to become that person.
yeah,
And that I think is one of the hardest leaps. Like everyone on this call has the capacity, skill, training, appetite to be the number one real estate agent in New England.
yeah,
Everybody here,
yeah,
right? Everybody could be
yeah.
that. But we have to show up like it first. And
No,
there's some version of you that has to emerge from that when you decide now
that's
I'm
right.
purpose driven. I want to
Yeah,
understand that
that,
from your perspective.
yeah, that's called the alter ego effect, and it's dead on. You're dead on right. And if you want to see this in real time, look at Kobe Bryant. Look at Kobe. Kobe Bryant is the greatest example to ever live of the alter ego effect. I'm saying you can talk about Ralph Lauren, if you know Ralph Lauren's story, alter ego effect. There are people that have this effect. And let me explain what this is. So think about Kobe Bryant. So Kobe Bryant is a high school basketball player. He's going to leave the high school to go to the NBA. He's going to make this transition right from high school to the NBA. He gets in the NBA, he gets drafted by the Lakers, and he's a good player. He's definitely not in the top 10 players, but he's a good player. He's above average player as a 17-year-old. Has a ton of pressure, a ton of ego, a ton of attitude. And the first couple of years he does really well, but then he falls off. He gets hit with sexual assault allegations. His sponsors drop him. He's tough to get around. People don't want to talk to him. He's literally on a downward spiral. If you follow Kobe's career, year 3, this guy is crashing. And by design, he says, I have to become something else. So literally goes in with his team into a boardroom and creates the name, the Black Mamba. He creates the Black Mamba. And he starts designing, well, what would the Black Mamba do? The Black Mamba is a killer on the court. The Black Mamba doesn't miss workouts. The Black Mamba doesn't worry about friends. The Black Mamba doesn't worry about publicity. The Black Mamba doesn't worry about pleasing people. He's literally, him and his team are designing an alter ego for him. They're designing his Bruce Wayne to Batman. This is what's happening. And he comes out, and the following season, I think it's season number 4. I could be wrong on the season, but I think it's season number 4. He says, every decision I make is going to be made through the lens of the Black Mamba. Now, he's not the Black Mamba yet, but he's convinced his alter ego effect, he's convinced this other version that every decision I make is going to be through the lens of what this all-time great player would do. This is how disciplined I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to eat. This is what's going to surround me. And so he wasn't faking it until he made it. He designed it and became it. He designed it and he became it. He didn't fake it until he made it. He designed it and became it. It took all the decision making out of the mix, because he wasn't making decisions in the eyes of Kobe Bryant. He was making decisions in the eyes of the Black Mamba. And
Mhm.
right when he did that, he took off. I mean, he was untouchable. He was untouchable. He became one of the top 10 basketball players of all time. His sponsors pick him back up. He's revered by everybody. Had he stayed the version that he had created for himself as Kobe Bryant, he's a second-rate player. Probably not half the player he is today. And this happens. There's countless stories of this. There's countless stories of this. So I agree with you. I hate the fake it until you make it, but design it and then become it.
Yeah,
Design it and then
that's the
become it.
key. The key is what you just described, and I love that example. And I've heard it before, but thank you for the reminder. that what we're really doing is it's not fake it. It's you're creating the narrative, and you use that term narrative a lot. I love that line. I love
Yeah.
that you rebuild the narrative of who you are, right? So if you're in a shitty relationship or you're in a shitty situation or you're in a situation that you don't like, you literally can rewrite the program, the software that runs so that you start getting an outcome. I share a story a lot with the team about collecting your wins or collecting your losses. That each day you wake up and good things happen and bad things happen each and every day, every single day. And
Yeah.
you either choose to write down the wins and put them in your pocket, or you choose to write down the losses and put them in your pocket. And at the end of the day, whatever you take out of that piece of paper and look at reflects either you're a winner or you're a loser. And it was the same day. You just put hash marks in one column or the other, and you're asking the question, are you the person that collects wins or are you the person that collects losses? Because there's
So,
both.
so good. Yeah. I wrote a whole book about it, right? So it's insane. What's insane is I'm living proof of this, and I can't I can't stress this enough. Like your life is a we we see the life we have. We just don't see ourselves as the author. And the challenge is that like you are the author of your life. And the greatest thing about that is you can write a plot twist whenever you want
Oh, I
because
love
you're the author. The challenge is we give the pen to our life to everybody and everything else. We give it to the circumstance, we give it to the to our boss, we give it to our kids, we allow other people to write we don't even become the lead actor in our own movies. Like we become accustomed to playing the supporting cast in our own movie. Like
yeah.
what? And I lived this. Like this was me. I wrote a shitty life. I believed what I wrote, and lo and behold, I had a shitty life.
You just the summary of we see the life we have, we just don't see ourselves as the author. That is gold.
Like it's I get so passionate about this because I see it. It's interesting you talk about the piece of paper because in my book I talk about when my kids were 15, I gave them both two journals. I gave them each a red and a blue, right? So they each had one red, one blue. And I said, I want you to, it was at Christmas. And I said, I want you to do me a favor this year. I just gave them empty journal. They were just empty. And I said, I want you to do me a favor this year. I want you to do an experiment for me. I want you to keep these journals with you everywhere you go. And everything good in the world that you see, all the acts of love and kindness and servitude and generosity, I want you to journal it. Just what you see, not even just what you do, just what you see in the world. And I want you to write it in the blue notebook. I said, but I want you to have the red notebook on your hand, all right, on hand, because I want you to write down all the acts of cruelty, all the acts of selfishness, all the acts of ego, all the acts of unkindness. I want you to write that in the red journal. And I said, just for a year, just like do this experiment for a year for me, please. I'll do it as well, right? And they said, okay. They said, okay. And I said, well, what before you start, let me ask, like, what book do you think you'll fill first? And I have identical twin daughters. They are as identical gets. Okay. And except in personality. In personality, one is just like my wife, one is just like me, which we're polar opposites. And so one of them goes, oh, well, that's easy. That's easy. You're going to fill the blue notebook first. And the other one goes, no, come on. You will definitely fill the red notebook first. And so we're having this conversation. And they're going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm just watching as their father. And they said, well, Dad, what do you think you're going to fill? I said, oh, that's easy. You're going to fill whatever one you pull out of your book bag that day. If you look for the negativity, you'll find it. If you look for the love, you'll find it. Your reality is nothing more than what you believe to be true. That's it. I said, so if that's the case, if you wrote an amazing story about your life, if you wrote a story, just a world-class masterpiece about your life, about what you want, about who you are, about what you believe, that will become your reality. That is what you will see. And I wish I would have known this at the age of 20, but I didn't. I didn't know this. Now if you walk, we're in our studio in our office now, but if you walk down the hallway coming in of the main entrance of our building, there's three big photos on the wall. And there's one photo of me when I was 10 years old. It's what I call in my book, it's called my gut punch photo. Photo that like makes my skin crawl every time I see it. because the only photo of me that exists that captured me is how I felt. And I was probably 10 or 12 years old at the time. And it's me just looking as miserably as I felt and as broken as I felt. And it is big and it is on my wall. And underneath of it says who I was. And then you walk a couple feet further, and there's a picture of me on an early morning run at one of our conferences with like 30 or 40 people behind me, smile from ear to ear. And it says, underneath of it, it says who I am. And then you walk a couple of feet further, and there's a big picture of my shadow on an early morning run. I just saw this cool picture of my shadow. And I took this picture of my shadow, and underneath of it, it says who I'm becoming. Now, each one of these versions played a critical part in my story. And I can't take this book, which is the narrative of my life and how I got to where I am and the stories we tell. Well, I can't rip out chapter 1 and have the same ending. So the biggest moment in my life when I realized that, while I wish I would have known what I know, if I knew what I knew, I wouldn't have what I have today. And so all those trials and tribulations, and to your point earlier, like getting in the marathon the wrong way and making the bad mistakes, and I have to forgive myself for what I did when I was in survival mode and realize I'm no longer in survival mode now. And I think that's the thing. I think we hold on to these narratives of what we did and the stories we had, but you're the author of your life, and you can write a plot twist whenever you want. I'm sitting here as living proof saying, I have no college education. The first time I ever stepped foot in a college classroom was 2 years ago when I gave a keynote address to the entire business school at the University of Alabama. I'd never been in a college classroom ever before that. And you're talking to a guy who never went to college, didn't have a college, barely graduated high school, never got better than a D in an English class. I'm a best-selling author. I have a world-class podcast. I have a great building. I have all these things. And I'm not saying this to impress you or to like humble brag. I'm saying this because like, if I can do this, anybody can do this. Like,
Well,
this is
I love that the whole thing. The reason people tell their story is because on the other side of where you're sitting now, you're trying to impress upon people the improbability of the narrative playing out, if not for the moments that you made the choice. And that's
yeah,
the thing that we're all trying to overcome. And in every one-on-one that I have with every person that ever, gives me the privilege to be a leader or a mentor in their life, we have the same conversation, which is, at what point do you decide that the way that things are going is no longer the way they're going to go, and that you're going to become the next person or the next
yeah,
version of you? And so you're, so many of these examples that you've given, throwing the cigarettes out, choosing to run the marathon, they're plot twists. But the thing that's tricky about it, and this is something that I like to dig in with people, you don't know their plot twists at the moment. You never know that those are the plot twists until after. Like
that's
you
right.
don't realize that you're making these impactful decisions until years later, when you
Yeah,
look back and go, that was a moment where things started to shift. But there's
right.
for sure in the moment, the day that you wake up and you say, enough of this. I'm going to do something different. Today's going to be a day that I try something that I've not tried before, or today's going to be the day that I stopped telling myself the
Yeah,
story the way the story's been told. So I want to learn more about that part of the decision making process. Like,
yeah,
some of what people can do that are sitting here saying, I believe this, I know it, and
yeah.
yet I'm in the routine. Well, how do I break the routine? How do I find the version, the purpose, the next thing?
Yeah, yeah, it's so good. That's so nobody's ever said that to me the way you just said it, and I think you're dead on. In the moment of all those major decisions that I made, I don't think ever once I knew the outcome of that decision, what it was going to be. Like, I didn't know
No.
how big it was. I didn't know throwing the cigarettes away would be I didn't realize that, the decision I made to run that marathon the third time would have such a drastic impact. I didn't know. In hindsight, you can go, oh, that was the moment. That
Right.
was the moment, right? In hindsight, you can do that, but looking forward, I think, we change for one reason or other, and people, this has been said a million times, and that is we change for desperation or inspiration. That's it. At the crossroad of desperation and inspiration, I have a very strong faith, and I believe that God gives us these moments, and He gives it to them all the time, but we just don't see them. We just don't see them. We just peruse past them, and but we get to this point where we're so broken and we're so tired and we're so exhausted that I just can't do it anymore. And at that point, once you decide, I think inspiration shows up at your doorstep because you see things differently, if you choose to. I think the challenge is like if somebody's sitting there and go, I believe this, I know this, I know this, I believe this. I think you got to realize that there's a lot of biology involved too. And without getting to a science lesson, the brain prefers familiar over effective. It prefers familiar over effective, even if the familiar is misery. The brain does not want you to change because change equals uncertainty, uncertainty equals fear, and fear equals cortisol bump in your brain. And that's when stress comes in, that's when your amygdala turns on. There's a ton of science behind it. So you literally have to outsmart your brain. You have to realize that, like, in order to do this, one, you have to outsmart your brain. You got to outsmart your surroundings. Like, yeah, I got to literally make a decision to say, I can't live like this anymore. And that's when I think you have to go back to what I said earlier. It's like you got to go into the lab. Right now, the iPhone 17 is what I think the iPhone 17 is what people have today. I think that's the latest version.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? The iPhone 18 will come out in September. I can tell you there's already people working on the iPhone 19. And so, like, the idea is, like, are you sitting down, and when you're sitting down strategizing what you want? Are you strategizing before that who I need to become? Like, what does it look like? What does that version look like? For me, it's like when I say, who do I want to become? Okay, what does this look like? Well, I want to become a more patient and present father. Well, what does that look like? It looks like when my kids call me, I stop what I'm doing and I'm fully present with them. It looks like when these 21-year-old daughters like do things or say things that make me go, oh my God, like what? That I like take a deep breath and I like have a full blown like moment before I give advice to them or ask them questions or respond to them. I'm not that, but I designed it in the lab. Like this is who I need to become. This is what it looks like. How am I going to do it? And then what happens is I write this all down. I'm a big guy. I believe you have to write it down. And then once you write it down, this is the greatest thing, is once you write it down, the paper becomes the smartest person in the room, not you. Not you. Like you don't get to make decisions anymore. When you don't want to do something, you go to the paper because you wrote the paper in the version of yourself, in the creation version of the best version of you. This is who I want to become. Well, when their alarm clock goes off at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, that best version is not showing up. It's not. The critic is not the best version. The critic's gonna go, you can do that shit tomorrow. You can do that shit tomorrow. And you got to be strong enough to go, what does the paper say? What does the paper say? And eventually, because I strategized it, because we will spend more time planning our vacation than we will planning our life. We will spend more time creating other things than we will creating the version of ourselves. And this is the challenge. And this is what you have to do. This is the roadmap. This is what we take all of our clients through. This is what I take all, and it's not just them. It's like if one of the best benefits I've ever had was 8 years ago, I started this podcast. 7 years ago, I started this podcast. And I started it because, and here's what's crazy. So I started this podcast, The Accountable Mindset. And I started it because I selfishly wanted to meet the people that I was studying. I didn't care. That podcast is 7 years old. We've had Jesse Itzler, obviously, is a good friend of mine. He wrote the foreword for my book. Ryan Serhant, Gary Vaynerchuk, Matt Frazier, like you name it, we've had him on the podcast. Okay, 7 years. I have not once ever looked at the metrics for the podcast. I don't know if anybody listens to it. I don't even know if my mother listens to it. I can tell you my wife doesn't listen to it. I don't think my wife's ever listened to an episode. I don't care. I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because the podcast was designed not for vanity metrics. It was designed to get me and the people that I wanted to learn from. And so now I can call Ryan Serhant, I can call Ryan Serhant, I can call Gary, I can call Jesse, I can call these people. We have a conference in May, and we do one public conference a year. We have this conference in May. It was like, okay, what speakers can I bring in? I called Jesse. Jesse said yes. I called Matt Frazier, who's the fittest man in the world, like CrossFit champion. He said yes. I called uh, David Meltzer. He said yes. Sean Nelson. He said yes. And these were all relationships that came from the podcast. And every one of them, every person I just mentioned, and the other 100 people I've had on the podcast, they all say the same thing. They say it in different ways. Ryan Serhant, who's probably one of the most successful real estate agents in the country right now, or at least
No,
tops,
yeah, no doubt.
he we're at dinner, and he said, Chad, listen, I just created this. I was a hand model. He was a hand model in New York. He said, somebody said I should go into real estate. Hand modeling wasn't working for me. So I went in the room, I went into my office and I sat down. I was like, I'm going to become a real estate agent. How can I create myself as a real estate agent? And the guy does like $1 billion in real estate sales. It's something insanity, right? All he did, and I know him really well. He's a really good marketer. He's really smart, very charismatic, but he doesn't have shit on anybody else. It's not like he has like, it wasn't like he was born on some planet and like shipped in as like this real estate god. I don't even know if he's really that great of a real estate agent as he is a marketer. Like, but
Right.
he decided this is who I want to become. And right now the challenge is, especially in the real estate world, people are taking the bait. You're being baited by the media. And this is not a conspiracy theory. This is just what I'm telling you. You're being baited to believe stories that are not true, that don't have to be true to you. So like, be damned with the media, be damned with the critics. Like, no, they're not going to have this. What? No, I'm in creation mode. I'm going to kill it. And so like all of them share the same story. They have to create it first. They have to create it first. They have to believe they're worthy of what comes with that. They have to believe they're worthy of what comes to that. That I struggle with that a lot. I was driving here this morning, and I was driving to my office this morning. I'm like, am I really capable to get on this webinar? Like, am I like really? What am I going to say to these people? Like, these are people that are going to get on a webinar at 8:30 on Good Friday. They're expecting some powerful ass speaker. They're expecting somebody, Jesse or Gary or Ryan. Like, who the hell am I to show up? This is literally the conversation I'm having with myself from my house to this office today. And everything in me wanted to say, Chad, like, you don't, what value are you going to bring to these people? Don't shit the bed, Chad. Don't, Jeremy took a chance and vouched for you. Don't make him look like an idiot. These are the stories I'm having with myself coming in here.
Yeah.
And then I get out of my truck and I know that if that version walks through the front door, then that's going to be my self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to shit the bed. You guys are going to be like, Jeremy, what the hell? Like, where did you get this guy? Craigslist? Like, it's going to be bad.
So far, so good, dude. So
Right?
don't worry. We're kind of crushing it. So well done.
So then I'm getting ready to walk through the front door. I look at my wrist. This bracelet has never left my arm. Never leaves my arm. And all it says is, I am enough. And it reminds me, I snapped my bracelet and I said, all right, walk into that room like God sent you, because he did. Walk into that room like God sent you, he did. So I don't know if other people deal with this. I know I do. It doesn't matter how many zeros I have in my bank account or the size of my house or my book or all the other stupid shit that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everybody's going to deal with this critic that's going to tell them they are not that. At least for me, and maybe not everybody. I know for me, it doesn't matter. It's never gone away. The question is, what story do I write when that critic shows up? And so, like, I create it, and I have last year, from 51 to 52 was the hardest year of my life, by far, that I can remember. It probably wasn't in hindsight if I would go back to those years. But on the outside, everything was great. Like, my book was killing it, my podcast, my business had never done more. But having a purpose is as much of a burden as it is a blessing. Like, people are like, oh, you have a purpose. Like, yeah, but to live my purpose, I had to get on 225 flights last year. To live my purpose, I had to sleep away from my wife 250 nights. To live my purpose, I had to, it comes at a big cost. Yeah. And so, like, people don't see that. And I think that, we have this idea that says, like, well, I must not be on my path because I had a bad day. I must not be on my path because I have negative thoughts. No, that means because the only thing you have to be worried about is when you're indifferent. That's it. That's when you're indifferent, when you just don't give a shit anymore about anything, that's when I'd send the red flag. But if you're like frustrated or mad or pissed off at yourself or anything else, that means I think for me, that means you're on your hero's journey.
I want to, Chad, this feels like chapter 1 of a 47-part conversation. So
That's right.
I have a quick thing to unpack that I'm so um, I'm perpet again. This is like part of my personal obsession
Yeah.
is that I wake up every day and get the pleasure of having, 50 people say, "But Matt, how do I get my next thing, right?
Yeah.
How do I achieve that next goal?"
Yeah.
And in various different formats and packaging, we always talk about you've got to tie it to your purpose, you've got to tie it to your mission, you've got to find the person inside of you that is
Yeah.
the version of you that can go do the thing. And I feel that everybody here believes they're capable
Yeah.
and that there's this reinvention process
Yeah.
that we go through. Like we do so much deep work. We go into the visualizing your 5 year, visualizing your 3 year, and not just in business, the human that you become in order to get there. But somewhere people just stall right at the first step, like the
Yeah.
stall, right? Or they take 5 steps. They start that marathon and they
Yeah.
get 150 feet in. And what happens is they have that first moment where it's like,
Uh,
this sucks.
the
This
test.
isn't what I thought it was.
Yeah.
All this for some stupid medal. And they just sort of go, not today, maybe
Yeah.
another day.
Yeah.
How do we help people see
Yeah.
that it's actually not that hard, right? Like that you
Yeah.
just keep pushing.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
do we help them see that?
For me, I don't know how I can help them. I can tell you what I do because it happens to me every single every time. When I started my company 10 years ago, the company that I worked for, a week after I leave them and I announced my own company, the company I worked for sued me. I got all these threatened letters from lawyers, and um, and I didn't have any money to fight it or deal with it. I tried to, and like we're probably a month into this like back and forth between their lawyer and my lawyer, and the lawyers are costing money, and I don't have money, and so I went to my wife and like maybe I'm not cut out for this. I just need to just go back and find another job. And she said, "Oh, well, that was easy." And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, that's the test." That's the test. That's the test to see if you really want it. And you don't, it said you must not really want it because you're going to give up on the first test. And what
Yeah.
I realized was, holy shit, there's always a test. There's always a test. There's always a test right at the beginning, like to test what is testing is your resolve. How bad do you really want it? And the challenge is most people give up on the test. They give up on it for the wrong reasons. Either they don't believe they have the resilience to overcome whatever that test is, or maybe because they just don't want it that bad, or they don't want it for the right reasons, or they listen to somebody else's story and somebody else tells them they feel bad for saying they want it, and or whatever. There's always a test. And so for me, I'm like, all right, like when's the test? So if I'm like, oh, I'm going to run a 100-mile race. Okay, when's the test? I'm going to write a book.
Love
When's the
that.
test? Like I'm now looking for the test. I'm waiting for the test. Like, give me the test. Give it to me because I know it's coming and I know what's on the other side of that test. Now, what's on the other side of that test is I'm going to have a really long runway of success. I'm going to start stacking wins. I'm going to start building momentum. I'm going to start feeling, I'm going to manufacture momentum. See, we know we need momentum. We just don't realize we're the ones who has to manufacture it. We want somebody else to manufacture our momentum for us. No, we manufacture momentum. So now
That
setting
is that
momentum.
is so awesome that the where the test is coming, where's the test?
Where?
Anticipating, anytime you can anticipate the challenge before it happens, it's
Oh,
easier to overcome the challenge,
that's
right?
exactly right.
So
Exactly
there's
right.
so you're going to run, you're going to go out for a run, and in your mind on that first step, you're like, this is going to be a breeze. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No, there's
Oh
going to
my
be,
God.
you're going to puke, you're going to hate it, you're going to not enjoy any of this.
The,
So
on every marathon I've ever run, every distance I've ever run, every distance of significance I've ever run, there's always phantom pains in like the first mile. And anybody who runs knows this. You're like, oh my God, that's it. My ankle, I'm going down. I'm not even at the start line yet. I'm like, oh,
right.
that it's the test. I swear to you, there's
No,
always
this is
a test.
that is absolutely brilliant because let's just bring it down to base level here. Nothing high-minded. Let's just talk about you start your year out as a real estate agent, say I'm going to sell 50 houses this year. And
Yeah,
you get into March and you've only got two under contract And what do you start? That's the test, right? That's the moment you go, maybe this isn't for me. I'm going to start looking for another job. I'm going to pick up some shifts at the restaurant. There's no way I'm going to get to 50. It's March already, and I'm already behind. I think I'm done. And you just start rewriting the story. But now you can, what I love about this is, oh yeah, well, that's the test. That's the moment where you decide, did you actually give a shit about this thing you said, or were you just making it up?
What do you think people, because I agree with you. And I just posted this morning that first quarter results, the first quarter doesn't give a damn about the second quarter. The second quarter doesn't give a damn about the first quarter. Like what people do in that case, what you just said, this is so cold. What they do is they reduce the desire so they don't have to increase the sacrifice.
Right.
No. I will increase the sacrifice because I will be damned if I'm going to decrease the desire. I'm not doing it. You have a choice. Increase the sacrifice or reduce the desire. One of those two things is going to happen when the test comes. I'm not doing it.
That's like being 2 miles into the race and saying, half marathon will be fine today.
Yeah,
I'll just take the half marathon though. Yeah.
I ran Grandma's Marathon last June, and I was probably 5 miles in, and it was 90 degrees. It was 89% humidity. It was brutal. And I wanted to quit this thing like, I don't even know, 100 times. And I've done so many marathons that the 26-mile marathon doesn't really scare me anymore. But I was like 4 or 5 miles in, 6 miles in. I'm like, and in this marathon, unlike any other marathon I've ever been in, every 2 miles, they had a dropout station, and they had signs. They literally had signs that say dropout station. I've never seen that on a marathon. Like every 2 miles, you're being baited to drop out. And all I said to myself, which I've said on every run, when I wrote my book, on everything, is like, same thing. 5 more minutes of suffering, and then you can quit. 5 more minutes of suffering, and then you quit. 5 more minutes, and the test is over. Like, to me, it's like, can you just hold on just long enough to tell that critic to shut the hell up, and the test will be over, and then you get momentum. Then it sounds so cliche, but like right now, if you're looking at that first quarter, and your first quarter wasn't what you wanted it to be, now you have a choice. And the choice is you can reduce the desire. And guess what? If you want to reduce the desire, there will be about 7 million justifications that'll make it okay. Well, the market is this, and well, we're bombing Iran, and well, Trump this or Biden that, and this and this and this. You won't even look like a quitter, because there's 7 million reasons of why it makes it okay for you to reduce the desire. And everybody, well, sure, yeah, of course. Like, of course you're not going to sell 100 homes when the interest rates are 7%. Of course you're not going to. You won't even feel bad about it, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Or you can say, okay, my first quarter wasn't where I want, but I got 3 quarters to go, and I'll be damned if I'm giving up. I'll be damned if I'm reducing the desire. I wasn't created for a life of lack and results based on circumstances. I was created to be better than any circumstance given in front of me. The challenge is most people don't believe that. They believe their life is predicated on the circumstances they're in. No. It makes it harder, makes it easier. Sure. If interest rates were 2.5% right now, then the circumstances would be easier. You'd probably be selling more homes. Great. But those aren't the circumstances. So you can sit and wait for the circumstances to align, or you can make your own damn circumstances.
Yeah,
like you decide. It's just a decision.
I love it. Chad, I want to be,
you have to decide.
I just want to honor your time. We're coming up on an hour, which is unbelievable. This time flew by.
Sorry.
You definitely know. It's amazing, man. You have absolutely delivered an impact. You never have to question what you're going to say ever again. You crushed it this morning. If you've got 5 minutes, maybe for a question or two. Would love to just kind of hear some comments, some questions from the team. What do you got, guys? Throw up a hand. Let's give Chad a little love. Let's hear what your thoughts are. Kasha, thank you. What are you thinking, Kasha?
I'm thinking I love this guy. After Corey recommended the book, of course, I went and bought it and listened. And I already looked at the cannonball moments, like scrolled through the photos. You're right. Everybody who accomplished anything ever talks about the same thing, but for some reason, either it's the way you say it or it's the umpteenth time that I'm hearing it, that it's landing in the right places. And I am a big Tony Robbins girl, and Tony Robbins says the same thing. I built this motherfucker.
Yeah.
But I like your way of saying that, you know, the narrative and design and living up to the version that you want to be.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do the iterations. So I don't know if I have a question. I just, there's so much that I'll be listening to the book over and over again. We didn't even talk about real estate, people.
No, totally. Well, that's chapter. We're not even going to get to that till chapter 15. So thank you, Kasha.
Yeah, my question is, can you come back for chapter 2?
Well, actually, I'll tell you,
I'll come back anytime I'm invited. That's
you know what we need. We need to find out where you're speaking, Chad, and where you're doing your next event, and we need to maybe set up something offline where we can collaborate on something cool here in the Northeast. I'd love to do something with you.
Kasha, thank you. First of all, Kasha, I'm humbled and grateful and really appreciate that you spent your money and your time buying the book and listening to the book. I don't take that lightly. There's a million books, and your time is more valuable than anything you have. And so I really do appreciate you doing that and supporting me. And thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
It's awesome. Dave, what are you thinking?
All right, so this has stirred up a bunch of thoughts because, like, I've been hanging out with the marathon training crowd for several years, and just like more recent insight is like, and we're talking about people who do multiple marathons per year, and they're always training, right? Like, always training. And the more time I spend with them, the more I realize, like, they are not making time for anything else in their schedule at all. And most of them, like when I start to learn like the details of their lives, I catch bits and pieces here and there, they are trying to like get away from some other aspect of their life and not actually deal with it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they're trying to, and like they're just like celebrating each race, but there's nothing else there. They are medal collectors. I put it in the chat. Like I know a lot of medal collectors. And like more recently, this is interesting, right? Like I know they want to do other things. Like I've taken on a couple as buyer clients, and just scheduling an appointment to meet, like they'll tell me things like, I really want to do this. This is a goal I have. I want to buy a house. And then it takes like a couple weeks just to schedule them for appointment. I've signed them as a buyer, and then I'm like, I have to figure out how to like piece this apart and get it and be like, no, look, if you want to do this other thing besides run and swim and lift weights, like you have to carve this out of your schedule. If you want to do anything else, I don't know. I'm like working on that right now with a couple people.
Well, I'll tell you this. I agree with you. Now, for me, I'm not. I have a lot of medals. I'm not a medal collector. I'm a betterment collector. But I will tell you this: is that my life changed the minute I realized that my training and what we call our mission criticals. I gave a talk on this yesterday. My mission criticals have to be done on time I own. And so I train myself. I wake up at 4:30 every day. I never, 7 days a week, I'm up at 4:30. And why? And here's the reason why. It's not because I love early mornings. I've learned to love early mornings, but it's not. That wasn't it. It was because when 7 o'clock, 7:30 came around, I didn't own that time. My kids own that time. My clients own that time. My business owned it. I could have been interrupted at any time. And so I was trying to get better on time that I didn't own. Well, from 4:30 to 7:30, nobody's expecting me. Nobody wants me. Nobody needs me. And so I get to do the things that are most important to me, my mission criticals. So, you know, if you look at yesterday was a Thursday. So I wake up at 4:30. I'm actually out the door at 4:30, so I woke up a little earlier. I do a 7-mile run. I come home, I sauna, I cold plunge, I hot tub, I do Normatec boots, I do infrared lights, then I take a shower, then I come to work. And I work all day. And I work all day until 5 o'clock. I got home, I saw my wife, I went and got a massage, I came home, I went to bed. Like, it sounds crazy, but I don't think you can have everything you want in life, but I think you can have what you want if you're willing to schedule, if you're willing to prioritize it. Now, because of that, I have to make better decisions. I don't drink at night. I don't drink. I drink every once in a while, but I don't drink. Why? Because it affects my sleep in the next morning. So like everything's trade-offs. And I think it's just and people are like, oh, you're so disciplined. No, I'm not. I'm just scheduled. I'm not disciplined. I'm scheduled. Like the schedule runs my life, and that might sound horrible to a lot of people, but it's giving me. I still go to all Alabama football games, roll tide, because that's where my daughters are. I still have a successful business. I have a successful relationship. I have like all these things, but it's just because I schedule my time, and then I ask myself the right question, and the ask question is like, who am I trying to become? And in the that I'll end with this is like, when you focus solely on achievement, when you focus solely on, I want to sell 20 homes, or I want to sell this amount of money in real estate, whatever, yeah, you may get it, but that's all you're going to get. But when you say, I want to become a world-class real estate agent, and your decisions are processed in, I want to become a world-class, well, what would a world-class real estate agent do? They would drink this, they would do this, they would network, they would do this. You will achieve more than you ever have in your life. Mm-hmm. By the art of becoming, you will achieve more than you've ever had, because there's so many ancillary benefits that happen when you're trying to become. But when you get solely focused on the medal, that's all you'll get is the medal.
And then when you get it, it's unfulfilling. Like
that's right. The high of getting the medal lasts about a day.
I've experienced that a couple times. He was like, I have the medal. It's great. I have a whole
you get there, you did all this work, you achieved this thing that you thought was going to be this mind-numbing, change your life thing, but you're still the same person on the other side of the finish line as you were on the front side. So that's why the goal has to be about the process of who you get to be.
Version 2.0.
Version 2.0. It's beautiful.
You never become obsolete. If you become obsolete in your own life, you become obsolete in your marriage, if you become obsolete with your children, if you become obsolete in your business, if you become obsolete in your, there's no value in that. There's no fulfillment in that. But when you are always upgrading, when you are always upgrading, if you're worried about upgrading your phone, worry about upgrading yourself. If your BlackBerry can go out of date, out of style, out of use, out of function, so can you.
Yeah.
Figure out what that is. And if I can do it, I'm telling you, now I have like you don't see on the camera right now, there's Evan, there's Morgan, there's Lauren, I have a whole team of people that are here to support me. And so surround yourself with amazing people that believe what you believe, and want to help you succeed. I'm not here because of me. I'm here because of the collective group of the people like Jeremy. Like people like Jeremy who put my names in rooms my feet have never entered. Do you know how much reverence I have for that? That somebody else would put my name out of their mouth in a room that I've never entered. Like that's all because of betterment. That wasn't I didn't start the year and go, man, I really hope Jeremy puts my name in a room to speak to 30 amazing human beings. That wasn't on my goal sheet. That wasn't on my bingo card.
Yeah.
But you know what's on my bingo card? That I wanted to live a life of intention. I wanted to inspire people. I wanted to become a version of myself that was not only proud of what he saw in the mirror, that other people were proud to say they knew. Mm-hmm. And because of that, Jeremy put my name in a room that I'd never been in. That wasn't on my achievement sheet. So like, I urge you, if I can do any of this shit, anybody can do any of this shit. I am telling you this. Yeah. Anybody, and so I just urge you to connect with me. I urge you, if I can help you, if I urge you, like we have a conference coming up in May. If you want to come to the conference, just text me. Just text me, call me. It's in Atlanta. And the conference is like 125 people. Jesse Itzler, Matt Frazier, work out with Matt Frazier. You want to work out with Matt Frazier, the fittest man in the world? Work out with Matt Frazier. You want to learn from David Meltzer, one of the best entrepreneurs of all time. Sean Nelson, who owns Lovesac. Hannah Brown, who is like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Dancing with the Stars. She's going to talk all things social media. Just text me, call me, email me, fax me. I don't give a damn. Figure out a way to get in touch with me. If you can't afford it, then we'll figure something out. Like you just get in touch with me, and let's just go crush shit. Let's just go crush shit.
Love it. Jeremy, take us home, man. What do we got?
Sorry, I went late.
No, it's amazing, dude. It's amazing.
My wife just said, "Why is there a big hole in the wall?" And I said, "Chad got me so charged up, I ran through it." Well, that's I just wanted to say thank you so much. I mean, this was so valuable on so many levels. You're such a great human, and I'll tell you a story that I never told you. So, oh, if I could do this stuff, you could do this stuff, right? That always resonated in my head. Oh man, okay, then I could do it. So I signed up for a 50K. And I remember mile 17 when my body completely quit. I was like, the next 14 miles have to be, I could do this for 5 more minutes. 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 And, great, they gave you a pretty medal and all that stuff. And, I finished the 50K. And then I was like, the most exciting part about this is going to be able to share this with my kids and share this journey with my kids, that not everything's easy, but you can do anything, you're capable. So, and that's a lot from you, and I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for coming on this morning. This was a blessing for us.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you. I love you. I have a ton of gratitude for all of you.
Chad, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you better and finding you in some more rooms where we can hang out. Really looking forward to that.
Very much. If I can help any of you, if I can help you at all, please just reach out. Zig Ziglar said, you can have anything you want in life as long as you're willing to help other people get what they want in their life. And so I hope I can help you get whatever you want or become whatever you want to become.
Well, you did today for sure. Thank you, Chad. All right,
Appreciate
everybody, you guys know the drill. I mean, if you can't get out of bed today and go light something on fire, go make a difference, go rewrite the narrative, go create the win, go do the thing you need to do. Today's the day. And tomorrow will be the next day. And then Sunday will be another day. So go make it happen, everybody. You know the drill. We know what we're supposed to do. It's sign, sell, set every single day. Make it simple. Don't complicate it. Go make it happen, everybody. Love and appreciate y'all. See ya.
Peace.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Jeremy.